Hello everyone. This is our 13th class on income tax and today we are going to learn classification of income for calculating total income. Before we start with classification of income, let us briefly revise what we have learnt in the previous class. In the previous classes, we have seen residential status of individual and residential status of other people other than the individual. When we are calculating or finding residential status of individual, we need to remember two conditions. One is basic condition and second one is additional condition. What are basic conditions? There are two basic conditions. One is an individual has been in India for 182 days or more during the previous year, and the second basic condition is he has been in India for 365 days or more during last 4 preceding previous years plus 60 days or more during previous year. And the additional conditions are: number 1, the person has been resident in India at least for 2 years out of 10 preceding previous years, and second additional condition is he has been in India for a period of 730 days or more during 7 preceding previous years. So, when a person is called as ordinarily resident, if he satisfies any one basic condition but both the additional conditions. When a person satisfies one basic condition and both the additional conditions, he is known as ordinarily resident. When is he known as not ordinarily resident? If he satisfies at least one basic condition and one or none of the additional conditions. That means if he satisfies only basic condition, he will be called as not ordinarily resident. If he satisfies one basic condition and one additional condition, he is called as not ordinarily resident. He is called as ordinarily resident only when he satisfies one basic and both the additional conditions. Third, non-resident. Non-resident is a person who does not satisfy the basic condition itself. So if an individual fails to satisfy any of the basic condition, then he is known as non-resident. Then we have seen residential status other than individual. Other than individual, we have HUF, firm and association of persons, company, and every other person. So in case of Hindu undivided family, the Hindu undivided family needs to satisfy the basic condition, that is the control and management of the affairs of Hindu undivided family must be wholly or partly in India. If the affairs are wholly or partly situated in India, then it is known as it has satisfied the basic condition. If a Hindu undivided family satisfies basic condition, then it is known as resident in India. Otherwise is treated as non-resident in India. I repeat, if Hindu undivided family satisfies the basic condition, what is the basic condition? Control and management of affairs of Hindu undivided family must be wholly or partly in India. That is, if Hindu undivided family satisfies the basic condition, it is known as resident. If it could not satisfy the basic condition itself, then it is known as non-resident. Then we have to check additional conditions. Additional conditions are checked only if the basic condition is satisfied. So if Hindu undivided family satisfies basic condition, you can check additional conditions. So let us assume that Hindu undivided family has fulfilled the basic condition. So after fulfilling the basic condition, the additional conditions are: one is, these additional conditions are applicable to Karta. Karta is the head of family. So what is first additional condition? Karta has been resident in India for 2 years out of 10 preceding previous year. And second additional condition is Karta has been present in India for the period of 730 days out of 7 preceding previous years. If Karta satisfies both the additional condition, then HUF is ordinarily resident or else it is not ordinarily resident. Next is residential status of firm and association. The residential status is resident in India if the control and management of the firm or association of person is situated wholly or partly in India. That means if the partnership firm is controlled and managed from India either completely or partly, then it is known as resident. If the control and management of the firm is done outside India, then it is known as non-resident. That is, the residential status is non-resident in India if the control and management of the firm or association of persons is situated wholly outside India. In case of company, here you need to remember to be resident, that is, the Indian company to be known as a resident, it has to control and manage its affairs wholly from India. Here there is no option of control and management of the affairs partly. The control and management of the affairs for company has to be wholly done from India, then only it is known as resident. I'll read. An Indian company is always a resident in India. A foreign company is resident in India if its control and management is situated wholly in India. If the control and management of foreign company is situated in India completely, then it is known as resident. If a foreign company is not resident, when a foreign company is not resident in India, if its control and management is partially or completely situated outside India. In case of every other person, if the control and management of affairs is situated in India, wholly or partly, it is resident, or else it is known as non-resident in India. The incidence of tax and residential status. This we have seen in the previous class. Incidence of tax on ordinarily resident in India. Both Indian income and foreign income of a person are taxable in the hands of a person who is an ordinarily resident in India during the previous year. That means Indian income, if I have earned Indian income and also foreign income, and I am an ordinarily resident in India, then on both the income I need to pay the tax. I repeat once again, I'll simplify it. Suppose I am ordinarily resident in India. That is the first one. We have three status. One is ordinarily resident, not ordinarily resident, and third is non-resident. Right now we are talking about the first status, that is ordinarily resident. If a person is ordinarily resident in India, on what all income a ordinarily resident has to pay tax? Okay, suppose you are ordinarily resident. If you are ordinarily resident, on what all kinds of income you are liable to pay tax? So, both Indian income and foreign income of a person are taxable in the hands of person who is an ordinarily resident of India during the previous year. Suppose in the previous year you have been ordinarily resident in India, then on Indian income as well as on foreign income you are liable to pay tax. So ordinarily resident has to pay tax on Indian income as well as foreign income. I hope you have understood this. Coming to next, incidence of tax on not ordinarily resident. The second status of resident is what? Not ordinarily resident. If you are a not ordinarily resident, then what all income you are liable to pay the tax? This status can be seen in case of individual and HUF only. That is, not ordinarily, you can find it only in case of individual and also Hindu undivided family. All Indian incomes are taxable. If you are a not ordinarily resident, then all the Indian incomes are taxable. You need to pay tax on all Indian incomes. Any foreign income connected with business, controlled from India, or profession set up in India is also taxable. Suppose you are earning any foreign income and that foreign income belongs to business, and that business is partially controlled or completely controlled from India, or it is in case of profession, if that profession is partially controlled or completely controlled from India, in that case, being not ordinarily resident, you have to pay tax. Let me simplify this. Suppose you are not ordinarily resident, you need not pay tax on foreign income. You need to pay tax on only one kind of foreign income, that is foreign income connected with business. And that business has to be controlled from India. Then only you are liable to pay tax on foreign income of business. Suppose you are earning a foreign income, but it is not at all controlled from India. Then you need not pay tax on it. So, not ordinarily resident has to pay tax on all Indian incomes, plus on foreign income, a not ordinarily resident has to pay tax only if the income is related to business and the business is controlled from India. And in any other foreign income, it is not taxable. That means foreign income, salary or house property, which is a foreign income, or capital gain, which is situated in other country, or other sources from foreign country, it is not taxable. Only income from business situated in foreign country but controlled from India is taxable to not ordinarily resident. Indian income plus foreign income related to business controlled from India. The third status is non-resident. If you are a non-resident, on what income you are liable to pay tax? A non-resident in India is liable to pay tax only on Indian income. Suppose you are resident of Pakistan. Then if you earn any income in India, if you earn any Indian income, only then you are liable to pay the tax. Being a non-resident, you are resident of Pakistan, and on Pakistan income you need not pay any tax. If you earn any income in India, on Indian income, being non-resident, you are liable to pay the tax. He is not liable to pay tax on foreign income. Any income that you have earned in Pakistan, any income that you have earned in any other country than India, you are not liable to pay tax in India. So in India, you are liable to pay tax only on Indian income, being non-resident. So I hope you have understood these three. First is incidence of tax on ordinarily resident in India. Ordinarily resident in India has to pay tax on both Indian income as well as foreign income. In case of not ordinarily resident is liable to pay tax on all Indian income, but in case of foreign income, particularly income connected with business which is controlled from India, only on that income a not ordinarily resident is liable to pay tax. And in case of non-resident is liable to pay tax only on Indian income. And if he is earning any other foreign income, then is not liable to pay tax in India. I hope you have understood what all things that are taught in today's class. In the beginning, I mentioned you that we are learning classification of income for calculating total income, but no, In today's class, we had to learn the incidence of tax and the residential status. In next class, we will be learning classification of income for calculating total income.